AI is getting insanely powerful, but it's still held back by this one huge weakness. It has a terrible memory. Think about it. You close a chat window, and poof, months of decisions, all that complex reasoning, it just vanishes. There's a new open-source project called MemPalace that's getting a ton of attention for trying to fix this exact problem. So, is this the real deal? Is it a breakthrough? Let's dive into the architecture of AI memory and find out.
So here's the core problem, and I'm sure you've felt this pain. You spend hours, maybe even weeks, working with an AI, right? Debugging code, making these critical design decisions. And then the session ends. The context is just gone. You're right back at square one. This AI amnesia, it creates so much friction. We're forced to constantly re-explain things that the AI should just know by now.
And this right here really shows the huge shift in thinking. On the left, you've got the old way, this messy, flat search index where some AI filter just guesses what's important. And you know what happens? It often throws away the crucial reasoning behind a decision. But on the right, that's the MemPalace structure. It keeps everything, and then it relies on its smart organization to find exactly what you need when you need it.
Now, this whole structure is inspired by that ancient Greek memory palace technique. It's really cool. Instead of just a flat keyword search, your conversations get organized spatially, almost like on a building. You've got wings that could be for different people or projects. Then you have halls for different types of memory, like code or maybe research notes. And finally, rooms hold specific ideas. What this does is give the AI these structured paths it can follow to retrieve information.
This next part shows a really key design choice they made. See, a lot of systems, they try to summarize memories to save space. But here's the thing, that's super risky. You can lose all this critical nuance. MemPalace, it takes a totally different approach. It stores the raw, word-for-word conversations in a local database called ChromaDB. Why? Because this preserves the exact wording and the full context, so it's all there when you need it later.
Okay, let's do a quick walkthrough of how this engine actually works. It's a four-step process. First, it captures the raw conversation. Second, it stores that data right in the local ChromaDB. Third, it routes the information using that cool Palace organization protocol we talked about. And finally, when you need that context back, it uses semantic search to pull out the exact info you need. And here's the most crucial part. This all runs locally on your machine. No external API calls needed.
So, this whole local-first approach, well, it leads us directly to the performance numbers that got everyone talking about MemPalace in the first place. Let's really dig into the benchmarks that are driving all this hype. And
so,
this is the headline number that really turned heads, 96.6%. On the long-mem eval benchmark, MemPalace hit a 96.6% recall score. And get this, that's in its fully local, zero API cost mode. For a system that's running completely offline, that is an incredibly strong result. Okay, but the full story here has a really important distinction. That 96.6% score, that's the raw local baseline. It needs no external LLM and costs you absolutely nothing to run. But the project also have this hybrid mode that can use an optional LLM re-ranker. And with that tiny, super cheap API call, the recall score jumps to a perfect 100%. So the real takeaway here isn't some kind of magic trick. It's that the local baseline is already exceptionally strong, and if you want, it can be pushed to perfection with just a little bit of help.
All right, so benchmark numbers are interesting and all, but what does this actually mean for real-world work? How does this actually make our workflows better? Well, the real upgrade here is one word: continuity.
And here's that pain point in action. Look at this. On the left, you've got the stateless workflow we're all just sick of, right? Constantly re-explaining your tech stack, rebuilding context that was lost. But then on the right, you have the memory workflow. You start a session, the system instantly loads up all the past decisions and context, and you just get straight to work. Think about how much friction that eliminates.
And these benefits really apply across so many different areas. For coding assistance, it means preserving those big architecture decisions and that context from a multi-day debugging session. For research dashboards, it can connect themes across hundreds of sources without you having to re-upload everything over and over. And for your own personal AI, it keeps your long-term knowledge workflows completely local and offline. Okay, but with any project making claims this strong, it's absolutely essential that we do a truth check. The results are exciting, for sure, but we've got to approach them with a balanced perspective.
So what actually holds up under scrutiny? Well, the project is genuinely local and open source, and that 96.6% benchmark has been verified. What's really impressive, though, is how transparent the team is about the limitations. For instance, they have this experimental compression feature, but they're upfront about it. They openly state that right now it actually performs worse than the raw mode. They've also publicly corrected early issues in their docs, which honestly just builds more credibility.
And this is probably the most important thing to remember, right here. A strong score on a standardized test is one thing, and it's impressive, but that doesn't guarantee flawless performance in every messy, real-world project out there. At the end of the day, these claims need to be tested in your own workflows. All right, let's zoom out for a second, because what's happening here is actually bigger than just this one project. We're witnessing a fundamental shift in how we even think about AI tools, where memory is becoming core infrastructure.
You see, the future of AI isn't about one-shot chats anymore. It's about ongoing work. And as we move toward a world filled with these persistent AI agents that are integrated right into our IDEs and our research tools, memory stops being some nice-to-have bonus. It becomes the foundational infrastructure that's absolutely required for these tools to be truly capable and useful in the long run.
And this all brings us to the final, and maybe the most crucial question. We all want AI to be more than just a clever tool, right? We want it to be a real partner in our work. But think about it. If it can't remember what we did yesterday, or that key decision we made last week, can it ever really fulfill that role?
So really, the single biggest takeaway is this. For AI to evolve from a simple chatbot into a genuine work partner, memory isn't optional, it's foundational. And the principles driving a project like MemPalace, store everything, lose nothing, and stay local, they're pointing the way toward a future where our AI tools might finally have the memory they need to truly collaborate with us.